There's a lot going on in the crypto industry at the moment, and not only are the prices of cryptocurrencies soaring across the board, but we're seeing a lot of breaking news as well. And what I mean by this is PayPal, for example, announced that they are going to be enabling business accounts to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrency moving forward. On top of this, we are finally seeing the release of Bitcoin spot ETF options, which is a huge deal for institutional and retail players moving forward. We also have headlines such as Basis TVL or Total Value Locked crossing $2 billion for the first time. And we also have other big cryptocurrency games such as the OG game MapleStory coming to Avalanche, building on blockchain technology. And of course, there's profits to be made everywhere. This is just an example of it, with an Ethereum whale netting over $554,000 in a 24-hour window with this crypto surge that we're seeing. So welcome back, everyone. My name is Brendan from Crypto 101, and we do market updates like this every single week. So if you like the content that we make, all that we ask is that you do two things. You hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, and if you really like the content, then you can go down to the description down below, check out some of our links, and get plugged into our communities. So let's run this thing from the top. What in the world is happening with the crypto market right now? Because as you can see, we are taking off. Bitcoin has broken out to over $66,000. We're seeing Ethereum break out to over $2,700. These are the highest points that both of these projects have been in the last 2 months or so. And so as we are coming back up into resistance here, altcoins are going crazy. What I mean by this is I want to take a look at a couple of these examples. Near, just in the last couple of weeks, is up 60% in the last 3 weeks. SUI is going to be another great example of this. We can see that SUI in the last, kind of the same time frame, it's up about 121% in the last just over 3 weeks. Aerodrome, another pretty popular crypto project. If we search this one up, it's just borderline parabolic to the upside. And this one's up about 155% in the last 3 weeks. So it kind of begs the question, what in the world is happening here? Because these projects aren't alone. In fact, we can click on just about any altcoin and we can see that, Aave, another great example, up almost 46%, almost 50% in the last couple of weeks. And there's altcoins left and right that are just kind of taking off again. And so the big question on people's mind is, what's the catalyst? Is this sustainable? And, what's kind of happening in the background? What is the next step? And I think that the next step here, before we get into some of the news and the kind of bigger picture that needs to be painted, is that just kind of looking and zooming out at what's happening here, Bitcoin is soaring back to its primary resistance inside of this falling channel. It's soaring back towards the highs, and this is a positive rally. Now, historically speaking, these summer months going in the fall are some of the worst and most bearish months, especially when it comes to September, and we're already rallying in September. Now, October and November are historically the most bullish months for Bitcoin, especially in the last 10 years of data. And so as we're going into this fall season, as we're going into about 6 months out of the halving, as we're crossing that threshold and going into the 1 year mark, data starts to look good, and it's an overall good sign for crypto. And not only have we seen that historically, we're starting to finally see that in real time on the price charts of many of these projects that we know and love. And so it's not something that's isolated to Bitcoin. We're seeing Bitcoin skyrocket. We're seeing Ethereum skyrocket. We're seeing mid caps, mainstream altcoins, you name it. There's profits to be made here. And the crypto market is looking really, really good. Now, we are coming up on a giant resistance area. You can kind of see that inside of this channel where we have been ping-ponging around for a while now. We are coming towards the top of this thing, but it doesn't have to necessarily end there. So let's talk about some of these catalysts, right? Well, PayPal announced that they are going to be enabling business accounts to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrency. Now, at face value, you're going to go, okay, that's a cool thing, but how big is this? Well, let's just take a look at PayPal, for example. And I was looking at some numbers, doing a little bit of research. In 2021, PayPal passed the $1 trillion mark for annual total payment volume. That is crazy, hitting the 1.25 trillion level, with expectations counting towards 1.5 trillion by 2022. Now, of course, this article is a little bit old. They've continued to grow. Even if we look at their growth in active users, and how much this has continued to grow, you can see that they have well surpassed the 400 million mark. That includes both consumers and merchants. And so there's an article like this one that has been circulating around saying, hey, PayPal is now potentially a bigger threat than things like Bank of America or Chase. And, with their growing user base and how much they are doing in volume and the 400 plus million accounts that they have, 34 million of which are merchants, this could be a big deal for the crypto space. Not only for people to be able to buy and sell, but also just for people and businesses to hold. Now they could have the option to potentially accept Bitcoin. And there's a lot of kind of stipulations, positive ones, that go along something like this. So a really big company that has done over $1 trillion in total payments, and now they're looking to expand. And we know that PayPal has been crypto friendly. And so this is a step in the right direction from one of the biggest payment processors that is out there. Now, other positive stuff. What about this? This has been something, I don't know about all of you, but this has been something that I have been looking forward to for a while. Finally getting the Bitcoin spot ETF options and the impact that this could have. So this article goes into it. If you want, you can check it out yourself. But they kind of just talk about the impact that this could have. And this marks a significant shift, in their words, and how institutional investors may engage with Bitcoin and the potential implications for demand of the underlying asset. Essentially, this opens up the board. This allows institutional players to have a little bit more, choices and options and what they want to do. And ultimately, this is going to be a super cool thing for crypto, especially for just investors in general. Especially if you like trading, then this is going to be right up your alley, because it's going to open up the board for both longs and shorts and all sorts of other plays and people who want to get plugged in and make bets on the crypto market, especially when we have a lot of these financial institutions that are saying, oh, we think the price of Bitcoin could be, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, by 2030 or whatever their predictions may be. Some more even bold than that. Well, now they're actually able to put options bets on those bets and put money where their mouth is. So something to think about as well. Another cool article, again, not just kind of trying to stick to the Bitcoin narrative here, but even altcoin projects like Base, their TVL, their total value locked, has crossed the $2 billion threshold for the first time. And they are sustaining users, they're growing a lot, and we're seeing just this kind of crazy explosion onto the scene where Base is really starting to dominate the L2 space. And so here they kind of talk about it a little bit more. They say that the TVL has crossed $2 billion for the first time, and what we've seen is a 370% increase year to date. Now, I don't know what kind of platforms everyone else looks at, but a 370% increase in year to date, activity and volume and all this stuff in TVL for this example is huge. You don't see that happening very often, especially not in, mainstream projects. So this is a big deal. Base continues to grow. Altcoins continue to be stimulated. And there's a lot of activity in building an infrastructure that is being set as we continue to move forward. But it's not limited to Bitcoin and the L2 space. We're also seeing that the OG game, the MMO RPG MapleStory, is having their blockchain debut. And so essentially what they're doing here is they are building on top of Avalanche. And they are making a crypto-focused or a Web3-focused game. Now, you might have played this game growing up. Depending on, when you grew up, you might be familiar with the game MapleStory, which launched in 2003. I remember this game. It was a big deal. It was a big online presence. People all around the world pretty much played this game. In anywhere, I would say from the early 2000s to 2010. It was a big deal back then. Anyway, they're going to be launching a blockchain game, and it's getting a lot of attention here, and they're actually choosing AVAX to build on. So this could be a cool thing where I really like the idea of kind of like OG powerhouses coming and saying, hey, we're willing to finally build inside the space here, and I'm excited to see what happens. But this is definitely a big step in the right direction. And on top of this, we're just seeing profits made across the board. There are people who have been capitalizing on maybe base and aerodrome, like we looked in, from this example over here. There have been people who have been capitalizing on Bitcoin. There's people who are capitalizing in the gaming sector. There's people that are capitalizing left and right. And with this, there's just another example of someone who is able to do about $500,000 in a 24-hour window over on Ethereum. And so the reason that I show this, right, is everyone going to be able to do this? Probably not, right? $500,000 in 24 hours, I think, is the dream for just about any investor. But I show this because if someone can do it on Ethereum, then it's definitely possible in traditional altcoins and other kinds of crypto investing. So there's a lot going on here, lots of cool stuff to look at. The final thing that I want to say is that there's articles like this one that I want everyone to be wary of. It comes from the headline, Ethereum struggles as Bitcoin dominance grows. And then this RXS coin, whatever that is, jumps and it is impressing investors. And Ethereum and Bitcoin are struggling and this and that. I want to warn everyone that there's going to be a lot of potentially false articles moving forward that are meant to scare you. The crypto markets look great. There's no reason to be scared. So let's just examine this real fast. Ethereum is struggling as Bitcoin dominance grows. Well, is the price of Ethereum struggling here? This was published about 3 hours ago. And as you can see from this daily chart, Ethereum's up 2.5% on the day almost. It is very much in the green. And even in the last, I would say a week or two, it's up almost 20%. So I don't know if Ethereum is struggling today, and I don't think it has been struggling for the last few weeks. And then the other part of this article was saying, hey, Bitcoin dominance is growing. Now, again, going back to the daily chart, Bitcoin dominance has been heading down for 1, 2, 3, now 4 days, and it just hit a lower point today, the lowest point that it has been in weeks. So not only is Bitcoin dominance not growing, altcoin dominance is growing, Bitcoin dominance is falling, and Ethereum is doing great. And so watch out for articles like these. Also, if you search up this coin, the whole purpose of articles like these is to maybe scare you out of a position and look into whatever's being shilled. And if you even type in the RXS coin, like almost nothing comes up. It's not listed on any exchanges over here. The only pairing that I can find for this thing is on Uniswap. So if I type in RXS USD, just nothing comes up, and it's barely even a well-known project unless I'm missing out on something. So I don't want to shed hate towards this, but I do want to say that watch out for articles that are biased, watch out for articles that are just straight up false, watch out for articles that are meant to scare you in a time where the crypto market is doing fantastic, especially when Ethereum is finally doing good, and it has been doing good for a couple of weeks. Bitcoin dominance is falling, which is allowing altcoins to go crazy, and you got to make sure that you ultimately look at the right things because that is going to affect you at the end of the day. So I hope everyone learned a lot from this episode. I hope everyone is enjoying the kind of uptick that we're seeing here in the crypto market as a lot is going on. Again, all that we ask here is that if you like the content that we make, consider hitting the like button, consider hitting the subscribe button. We hope everyone stays in touch with everything that is happening in the great world of cryptocurrency, and we're going to see all of you at the same time, same place next week.